Hey everyone, this is Kyle, and this is another episode of Ask Papa where I answer your emails about relationships, parenting, co-parenting, divorce, and we've got an email today from Joanna, and this is what she has to say. Dear Papa, I've watched your videos recently and I have a question. My son's father has seen my son, he's almost 2, once in the last 8 months. He lied about me in court documents, and it turns out he got married and he's been covering up his bad behavior since. Can you recommend any ways I could fill in the gaps for my son? He's young enough not to remember his father, but eventually he'll have questions and he'll have father needs. Big Brothers Big Sisters starts at 6 years old and up. No other male relatives or friends are around. Your advice is much appreciated. So Joanna, I first want to commend you for realizing at such a young age for your son that he needs male role models in his life. In much the same way that I don't have all the necessary ingredients to give my daughter what she needs, in the same way, women don't have all the necessary ingredients to give a son what he needs. And so I think that your thinking is right by wondering how you can fill in the gaps from your child's father who is choosing not to be in his life. With that being said, you really have a couple of options here. You could just simply walk up to men and say, hey, you seem like a nice guy. Would you be willing to be a role model for my son? You're probably going to scare most guys off. Men don't think of themselves as role model material. We all have baggage. We all have our private little secrets, and most of us think that that's just going to keep us from being the role model type. Secondly, it's probably not the right approach because you're going to give men the impression that you're looking for, your son a new dad. And that's probably not your intent. I'm sure your intentions are very pure and you're simply looking for a man to speak into your son's life. So I don't think that's the best option for you. In my opinion, I think there's a far better solution for you, at least in the short term. Fortunately, your son is only 2. And for now, you have and you possess everything that he needs. He's going to grow up and he's going to get older, and there's going to come a point that he's going to need more male role models in his life, or at least 1 or 2. And I don't know what that age is. You'll know it though when you see it, because you'll realize that there's some answers to questions that you can't provide. So as he continues to grow up, I would encourage you to seek out women who are in your community, who are in relationships with men that you admire, men that you would want your son to grow up to be like. And through those relationships, as your son spends time with them, when you're together or you're doing things together, the hope is that these men would begin to pour some of themselves into your son, even if it's a byproduct of them parenting their own kids. Additionally, I would also encourage you to look at potential churches and synagogues and other faith-based organizations in your community. Many of these churches have organizations within them that are there to support young boys and young girls in ways such as this, through mentoring programs, and this may provide you one of the opportunities that you're looking for, and in a way that is already decked up for you. They've already done the heavy lifting, and you really simply come in and put your son into that situation. And so that's also something that you might want to consider and look into a little bit more deeply. Joanna, I want to encourage you to continue on the path you're on. Your thinking is right, and I want to commend you for understanding and realizing the needs that you have with your son. With that being said, I wish you the best of luck as you reach out to these women and you're able to connect your son with the men that they are with, hoping that they will pour some of themselves into your son's life. I also wish you the very best as you reach out to these organizations in your community that can potentially partner your son in the long term with other mentors. And then lastly, if a future relationship is what you're looking for, I hope that you will find a man that will model for your son the qualities and the characteristics that you want him to have, knowing that whoever that man is, not only must he be your partner, but he also must be your son's father. And that when you look at relationships through that lens, sometimes our relationships look much different, and the type of man or woman that we might have wanted suddenly is not as attractive because they don't have the qualities that you want your children to have. So, Joanna, thank you so much for your email. I wish you the very best of luck. And thank you for listening to this episode of Ask Papa. If you're interested in sending me an email, go to my website, chopperpapa.com. Go up to the contact page, fill out the information. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks.